Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Today is day 17 of 28 days of accountability. Today is day 17, and we're talking about a topic that I am definitely trying to implement myself, and that's being committed to the process. Today is the day. Today is day 17, and we're talking about being committed to the process. No matter how it may be, no matter how difficult it may seem, you have to stay committed. And that's something that I am speaking to myself today. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Sister Latrice, for joining. Hey, Terrell, thank you for joining as you do each and every day. I really appreciate you. And we are starting out the way we do every day with understanding that it is our time. 2019 today, February 17th, is our time to make those goals happen, to make those things happen. Good morning, Miss Pleasant. Thank you so much for joining. I love you, sweetie. It is our time, and today is one of those rough topics, but it is something that we have to implement. It's something that we have to understand how important it is to the journey. It's important to our 28 days of accountability. Good morning, Christina. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you. So yes, you know what? If you're like me, you have to get ready for church. I'm ready because I know that in order for me to sing in the choir, I have to make it to Bible class or Sunday school. And because I didn't make it to Bible class, I have to get to Sunday school. So we are going to talk about day 17, get it on, get it off, so that way you can get to church. I know some of us go to 8 o'clock service, and I want you to be able to attend 8 o'clock service with a word of inspiration that you have already received, right? So let's get right to it. Day 17, do you have your pens? Do you have your pads? Do you have everything ready? Day 17, we're talking about being committed to the process, right? Being committed to the process of accountability, being committed to the process of goal smashing, being committed to the process of responsibility. So what does it mean to be committed? To commit means that you are making a pledge. You are making a pledge to assume a position or to carry out a course of action no matter what. Right? So when we pledge the Greek life, I have some Greek family, some Greek sisters that are on the live today, and I'm sure they understand when you cross that line, when you pledge to AKA, to Delta, to Alpha, when you are making those pledges to Sigma Gamma Rho, you are pledging that you will abide by the rules, by the regulations, by the code of conduct, forever, basically, because you are inducted into that membership. You are inducted into that organization forever. Like, this is not something that you can pick up and put down. And that's how it is with the commitment to our lives, right? We have to feel that same level of passion and desire, so that way we stay committed to the process. So we are going to assume a position, and we are going to carry out that course of action no matter what comes, no matter what mays. We will stay in alignment with whatever we have decided for ourselves. Now, what is a process, right? So we've defined, we said today was day 17, commit to the process, stay committed to the process. Good morning, my sister Glenda. Thank you so much for joining. And so now we have given a definition. We've defined what being committed is. Now let's define what processes are, right? So processes are the steps or the series of actions that you take in order to achieve your goal. So we know what being committed is. Now we are looking at what processes are. So processes are the steps or a series of action, meaning that could be over a period of time, right? Steps could be something that is a short-term goal, right? It don't take us a long time to get there, so we don't have to have a big, robust process. But maybe our goal, maybe our journey, right? Because we talked about that this is a lifelong journey. This is a commitment to change. So our journey, the process, is more about the journey. So what series of actions do we have to take in order for us to achieve the ultimate goal of life, right? Not just our short-term goals, but that long-term transformational goal that we have that's going to change us from the inside out. So I want you to understand that goals are the catalyst for change. Goals are the catalyst for change, but it is an effective process that keeps you moving forward. So you have your goal and you know that that is what propels you to want to make a change in life, but it is your process and the effectiveness of your process that keeps you moving forward. Now, if you are not captivated in the process, right? And if you don't have methods that's going to lead you to your goal or to your end destination, then there is a much less likelihood that change is going to occur, right? So you have to be captivated in the process, meaning that you have to be committed. You have to be intrinsically and extrinsically involved in that process in order for it to lead to success, right? Because that's what this is all about, us being successful in life. And when we become process based, it's when we will understand the nuts and bolts, right, behind what is happening. And when things go haywire, when they go amok, then we will be in a much better place to then resolve them. So if you think about a factory, and you think about that machine that's running, the people that are on the line that are working those machines, right? They have to have some idea of how those machines work, because when there becomes a cog in the wheel, they have to be able to do some type of troubleshooting on the line in that moment in order to get that line moving very quickly, to get it back up and running. If they had to call the technical engineer or their supervisor each and every time that there was an issue, then I'm sure products would not go out on time. You know, when every time you call Comcast because you have a technical issue and troubleshooting needs to happen, if they had to pass you on to the level 2 supervisor or to the level 2 technician every time you called, then I mean, you would stay on hold forever, right? Because level 2, those lines would stay backed up. So that person who answers the phone needs to have some idea of how the cable lines at your home, how those are connected, how they function, what line goes where. And that's why in their training process, when you are hired by Xfinity, by AT&T, they make you go through such a robust training program, because they want to make sure that when those calls come through, you can at least understand the process, right? On what it takes to at least have cable inside of a person's home, because they want you to be able to at least troubleshoot your problem some. And that's how we need to be in our everyday lives. So truly committing, right, to our lives and to transformation is learning and growing, right? We have to constantly be like a small fish inside of a big pond, because that big pond is everything that we're constantly trying to learn. We're always growing, because the world is always evolving. They are always changing. So because of that, we have to be committed to learning. We have to be committed to growing, right? And the process, what happens is it forces us to be humble. It forces us to be open-minded, and it forces us to be creative, right? When we are in relation with other people, we have to be open-minded. We have to be creative. We find ourselves coming up with ideas and things that we probably would never even think about doing. But the reason why we do that is because we made a vow to be committed to that thing. So we come up with those creative ideas, and we find ourselves doing things that we probably thought we never would. And so the person that we become throughout years of training, learning, right? We're overcoming failures, because that is a part of it, right? We're overcoming failures. We are overcoming challenges. We're trying new strategies. That is what's valuable about the process. And we have to understand that there is value in the process. That's because, again, we're learning, we're growing, we're getting training. We are overcoming challenges, failures, and we're trying new strategies. So that's where the value is. Now, you have to ask yourself, are you simply desiring something, right? Only because you just want that one thing? And if it is, then that means that you will only do that when circumstances permit, when circumstances allow you to do that, right? If you are only desiring something, right, that means that you will only do it when time permits, when time allots. But if you are truly committed to a thing, right, you are going to accept no excuses, only results. So it will continue to burn fire inside of you until you reach that end result, until you reach that end goal. So if there are problems, if there are issues, if there are challenges, you won't just give up very quickly. You won't find the words, I'm sick of this, or I'm tired of this, or I am no longer, I don't want to be bothered with this anymore. Those words won't be a part of your vocabulary if you are truly committed to the process, right? Because we already know that there are going to be challenges. And so I asked my question, when I was preparing this lesson, I asked myself the question, does the process suck? Right? Does the process suck? And the only response that I could find, the only answer that I could find is yes. Yes, the process sucks. Yes, it does, right? How many people agree with me that the process sucks? If you agree with me, let me see those hearts. Let me see those likes right now. I don't want to be all alone. I'm already a small fish in a big pond of learning all by myself. I don't want to be alone in the feeling like the process sucks alone. So how many people agree with me that the process sucks, right? It does. And that's because in the process, we are forced to either learn or quit. That's it. We are forced to learn or we are forced to quit. And I know that I don't have any quitters on the line because you have been with me so far for 17 days. That means we don't have any quitters here. So we are forced to learn. And that means we are being stretched then. We are forced to learn. We're forced to being stretched because we are not quitters, right? And so that means if you have decided that you're willing to be committed to the process, we talked about Thomas Edison before. We talked about how it took him 10,000 tries before he was able to produce a light bulb that actually works. The light bulb that we know today, when we pull the switches the way it used to be, right? You would pull that switch and the light bulb would come on. Now, when you flick your switch, the light bulb comes on. But it took him 10,000 tries before he was able to create a light bulb that actually worked. How many of us are that committed in our lives in our marriages, in our school life, in our entrepreneurial journey, in our personal journey of change and transformation. How many of us are that committed that, we understand that it's going to take over 10,000 tries, right? Before we get that thing right, before we get, a fully functioning and well-oiled machine. So we need to ask our question of ourselves, what is it that I can do every single day that will guarantee me some results? Because there is something that we can do every day, whether if it's I'm going to drink a smoothie every day. I'm going to do Shine T25 every day. I'm going to commit to reading the Bible for 10 minutes every day, right? I'm going to run in place inside of my home for 10 minutes. I'm going to commit to finding someone on the street that I can bless with $1 every day. No matter what it is, right? I'm going to listen to 15 minutes of TD Jakes every day. No matter what it is, there is something that we can commit to doing every single day that is going to progress us, that's going to move us, that's going to position us, right, in a place where we will be, where we will continue to transform from the inside out. And yes, Glenda, you are right. We have to trust the process that is within us. So Les Brown said this quote that I thought was so befitting for today. He said, most people knock on the door of their dreams one time, then they run away before anyone has a chance to open the door. But if you continue to knock, if you continue to be persistent, if you continue to be endless, eventually that door is going to open. And that is an answer, that is an antidote for everything, right? If we continue to knock on the door, sooner or later the door has to open. But a part of that process is understanding that is the door for us to open. Now, when we hear about high school students, right, I want to give you a few examples of what it means to be committed to the process. When we hear about high school students that are signed to a major league college, or we hear about high school students, we've heard the story of some basketball players, they go from high school directly to the NBA. Now we see the success of them being committed to the process, but we don't know how many nights they had to spend practicing, right? How many endless nights they did running drills, how many hours of working out they did every day before school, after school, the homework that they had to be committed to in order for them to graduate, the many parties that they missed so that way they could be the best basketball player that they could be, which yielded them the results of being signed on to a major division A or 1 or whatever they call those, right? Colleges universities that they were signed to being able to go directly from high school right into the major leagues. But there was a huge amount of commitment that they had to have to the process. Now, this is Black History Month, right? We're still in February. So when we read about Harriet Tubman, she's another example of someone that was committed to the process. In order for her to build the Underground Railroad, don't think for one single minute, y'all, that she woke up one day and the Underground Railroad was built. We know it didn't happen in a day, just like Rome wasn't built in one day. She went through many nights of frustration, of being beat, of being starved, the sacrifice that she made before it was finished. And that's another point. Thank God for the email that I just received from heaven. When we're in the process, when we're committed to the process, we have to understand that it is about more than just us. Right? Because when she had the vision of having that Underground Railroad built, it wasn't just for Harriet Tubman. She wasn't the only slave that was freed through the Underground Railroad. The process that she was committed to was not just for her. It was for other people. It was for the people that had to come after her. So when we are committed to our process, that means that we are not just committed to our success. That means that we are committed to the success of other people. We are committing to the success of our family members, of some of our friends, of our children. When we say our yes to the process, that means my coach Jay say all the time, and I think she says that she got it from Pastor Hannah, that our yes is committed, is connected and committed to so many other destinies. So when we say yes and we stay committed to the process, there are so many other destinies that are committed to us, right? That are attached to us. So we have to understand, when we give up, when we don't continue to knock at that door, the people that need our yes will not be freed because we gave up too easily. Now, my last example of being committed to the process, I thought that it was so befitting for today because I looked at the calendar and I realized that today was Sunday. And because today is Sunday, of course, we have to have a biblical reference, right? Okay, so here it is. Many of us know the story of David. Right? I know y'all thought I was going to use Jesus, right? But everybody know that he was the ultimate one that was committed to the process. But we know the story of David. He didn't just wake up King David. How many people know the story of David? He went through a process full of trials, full of tribulations, but he remained committed to the process. First of all, he was a shepherd boy in the field, committed to the process, right? When Samuel came to the house, right, to his daddy's house, he was the last person that they wanted to try to pour the oil over. He was the last one in line, but he was committed to the process. He had to fight and kill a giant named Goliath. And that was not just for him, but that was for everyone that was in his town, in his village, in his city. Bam, committed to the process. Even after that, he had to run for his life from an angry Saul, right? Saul, who was the king at the time, became angry with him and wanted to have him killed. So David had to run for his life from an angry king. Still committed to the process. He did many things along the way. Slept with somebody else's wife, right? Y'all know he slept with Bathsheba, but he was still committed to the process. And because of his commitment to the process, he finally was crowned king. But look at all the years. That didn't happen overnight. That didn't even happen in 1 year. Look, it was from the time he was a little shepherd boy until he became a grown man is when he was finally crowned king. So he went through, think about how many doors he knocked on. Think about how many light bulbs, how many inventions that he had before he actually became king. Because that was the end result. He was becoming king. But he went through so much before he got there. So I just want to inspire you today, to encourage you today to stay committed to the journey. Stay committed. It's going to happen. You have to know that what God has for you, it is for you. No matter who you may see progressing in front of you, no matter who you may see that is getting what you feel is yours. Yours is coming. Your door, just keep knocking. It is going to open for you. Stay committed. I want you to commit to want to be different, right? Commit to want to be different. When we are committing to the process, we are never giving up. Right? We are creatively overcoming setbacks and obstacles. We are trying new strategies. That's because a powerful metamorphosis is happening on the inside of us. And that's the important part of the process, understanding that it is changing us from the inside out. My good friend T.D. Jakes said that without commitment, nothing happens. If you don't hear anything else that I said today, understand that without commitment, nothing happens. We can speak, we can say it all we want to, but if we don't get committed to that thing, nothing changes, nothing happens, right? Galatians 6:9 is what I want to leave you with before I get off the line today, because I said by 8 o'clock, I'm going to be done. I have 1 minute left to 8 o'clock. Galatians 6:9 says, and let us not grow weary of doing good, for in due season we shall reap if we do not give up. We shall reap a harvest of blessings if we faint not. If we don't give up, if we stay committed. Galatians 6:9, print it out, put it on your dashboard in your car, put it in the bathroom, put it in your closet, put it on your computer, put it on your desk, right? Put it on a little scribe and tie it around your finger. Let you not grow weary in well-doing and doing good. For in due season, you will reap a harvest of blessings if you faint not, if you do not give up. So stay committed to the process, right? Thank you all so much for joining each and every day. Today is day 17. Come back for day 18. I thank each and every person for joining me every single day. My name is, I was so excited about this thing today about being committed to the process. I forgot to tell you who I was. My name is Ebony Moncho. I am a motivational speaker, an accountability coach, and the CEO of 360 HR Solutions. I teach entrepreneurs, leaders, and influencers how to build success. And we do that by helping them to create structure, to develop processes, and to implement solutions that are sustainable. Remember, stay committed to the process. Why? Because it is your time. It's your time for success. It is your time. Thank you all so much and have an amazing and blessed Sunday.